Hello and good to see you all. Okay, so here's take two. Remember, I told you a while ago I don't know how to edit because I don't. So what you get is raw feature. um, which the noise in the background is called a heater. I am not turning it off just so I can sound good. I will just talk a little bit louder because it is 44 degrees Fahrenheit. Now it makes me wonder what it is degrees Celsius. Um, so anyhow, I do have agenda today, and it is Fahrenheit. There we go. It is no way 6.6 degrees Celsius. That's per Google. So, um, cold. Anyhow, it's raining outside, and it has been raining for off and on for the last week. We've had windstorms and everything. Now, this causes a lot of pain for fibromyalgia. Typically, it gets us rendering to where we're like, drag us out of bed and drag us to functioning and getting us moving, right? Well, that's reality for those with fibromyalgia, especially with being so cold. So, anyways, that's not what I wanted to share today, though, because there's a couple of things that I wanted to clarify and then give an explanation on a catch that I've caught myself on, which is pretty impressive, actually. First of all, I've heard that people say if you have fibromyalgia, you had Epstein-Barr. False. OMG. I am here to attest firmly. I don't even need to ask a doctor. I had mono. Okay? I don't have Epstein-Barr. So, it's false. I heard this doctor saying, a doctor, mind you. I was like, oh my gosh, let me add a side by side note and tell me your facts and I'll tell you your fiction. I looked it up and I researched it. My doctor would have told me I had Epstein-Barr if I had it. I had mononucleosis back in my sophomore year of high school when I was in 10th grade. I had mononucleosis. They call it the kissing disease. And I say, well, that's kind of hard. You can't tell me that I got it from kissing because I haven't kissed a guy since forever. Okay, so it just was, and I had a boyfriend. We just weren't into that kind of thing. So the reality is that's false. Plain and simple. Epstein-Barr does not equal fibromyalgia. Can you have Epstein-Barr and then later develop it? Definitely. I'm not going to say that, but I'm not going to tell you that every single person with fibromyalgia has Epstein-Barr. No, does not compute. So there's a fallacy, and I called the doctor out on it. So that I was just like, say what? Really? I had I I do not have Epstein-Barr. I had mono and Epstein-Barr is a possibility, but it's not the only possibility because just like anything else, I'm not saying that Epstein-Barr is autoimmune because I haven't seen that part, but I am going to say that autoimmune is generally an undercursor to fibromyalgia. Yes, I'm going to be blunt. That they're still looking for the autoimmune that I have. They're pretty sure I have one, but there's rare ones. There are rare autoimmune disorders. Okay? So, autoimmune disorders, Epstein-Barr to the side. Next is that I have talked I've gone back and I've thought about this. Like, I've talked about um doing work from home. I've talked about posting about work from home daily. I've talked about doing weekly posts about ups and downs of fibromyalgia. I've talked about doing several different things with fibromyalgia. And then other things that are kind of different from it, but that people with fibromyalgia tend to struggle with. The one thing that I haven't done through saying that I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do the other thing is that I haven't done them. There's been some challenges that I've done for myself. I remember doing, it was years ago, like almost 5 years ago, I did a 30-day mental health awareness challenge. I still have some of the clips. They were not very long, but they had nothing to do with fibromyalgia. However, they do have something to do with fibromyalgia. I have found a lot of people with fibromyalgia tend to also have ADHD. Doesn't mean that you have it. One correlates with the other. It's called mental illness. There's usually a mental illness undercursor with fibromyalgia. Does that mean if you have mental illness, you're going to get fibromyalgia? No, just the opposite. Fibromyalgia, you tend to have mental illness, which, if you think about it, it actually kind of makes sense. I mean, to be truthful, when you have mental illness flare-ups, like you go a little bit off, maybe you get a little emotional, maybe you have a trigger or a stressor or something, PTSD. And I have compound PTSD. They're classified mental health issues, and yes, I do have medications. It's not that much, just one to kind of keep things slow and calm, and probably don't take it as often as I should, but I'm not big on medication, but I'm also big on, I support medications if they help you, definitely. I just don't do the holistic stuff because it's easier to cause problems than it is to cause help unless it's very, very sparing, because holistic medicine can be even stronger than regular medicine. I, for one, am allergic to some of the holistic medicines. I've actually gotten very ill from just exposure. So, what I'm talking about in regards to the mental illness is that the the triggers and stressors, the chemical, and people don't have control over. I'm not saying that people with mental health issues have control over them. Quite the contrary. That's part of why fibromyalgia can stem from them, really and truly, because of the fact that the nerves and the physiological effects internally, the body doesn't know how to respond to those physiological effects, and therefore it misfires and gives extra, it's extra emphasis and extra response to it, so it goes into sensory overload. That's the best way I can describe it. And I know there's got to be a better way. And a techie person might be able to explain it one way, and then a medical professional another. And I would not necessarily get either one. I have had a very challenging time, and this goes back to the mental health part of it. And the last part of the situation here. Now, my stressor started when I was very young. I had a problem with communication. Yeah, me. YouTube videos and communication. Maybe you can give me some ideas on your end of what you think. I couldn't speak English. Mm-mm. I was getting it way too confused. I did my very best, but I couldn't do it. And by 5 years old, I was really struggling. I mean, I could get my point across, but I really struggled. And this was not the curse. This was not what started the fibromyalgia, not at all. At least not that I'm aware of. I just struggled. And by the time I was in school, they put me into remedial program and had me not only speaking in English, singing in English, writing in English, but singing, speaking, and writing in Spanish, all in 1 year. Now, mind you, at the time, we were starting to have an influx of Hispanics, so it made sense. And I shouldn't say Hispanics, I should say Spanish-speaking people, because it was not just Hispanics. Then shortly thereafter, like, shortly thereafter, not shortly, about a decade after. No, wasn't. Now that I think about it, it was like 5 years later. They got me into middle school because that was about how long it took. And I discovered linguistics, the love of language, the love of speaking, and I learned sign language, so I can speak sign language, and I can speak in Spanish, English, German, Swahili, Chamorro, Italian, and French. People are like telling me how amazing. Well, I just found a love for language. I speak the basics, nothing more right now because I haven't really practiced. Um, but I thought about starting to help people to learn just the basics through word and gameplay. It would be something fun because I enjoy language. I've always enjoyed culture and love language and love helping others to feel better about themselves. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Um, I know that ADHD has really been playing a big role in this, and maybe during those 40 days, I might actually share that part because 40 days, 40 nights can be a huge blessing. That'll be starting on the 15th, so a little over a week from now, and I will start sharing. Maybe I'll get creative with that because it's a lot of fun to implement with many different languages. I don't know Asian, but I do know many other languages. Japanese! That's the other one. I knew I forgot one. Until next time, you have a wonderful day and hope this helped to give clarity to you that fibromyalgia has its many blessings and gifts. It's a matter of knowing who you are and the other people around you.